Chiniga Mayos is proud to announce it has been designated a Washington Post top workplace for the 6th year in a row. Chiniga Mayos offers a family-first culture and places a high value on work-life flexibility, which is proven through our industry-high retention rate of 90%. Learn more about our exceptional company values and view our positions at mioscareers.com. That's mioscareers.com.
This podcast is sponsored by Ramp. Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. With Ramp, you get full visibility into your company's spending and control who spends what with each vendor. Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts instantly to save your team valuable time. Ramp automates data entry and routine tasks with automated approvals, expense categorization and bill payments, time-consuming tasks, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. Get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/easy. Ramp.com/easy. ramp.com/easy.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
The Agile brand.
Welcome to the B2B Agility Podcast, where we look at the factors that drive success in B2B marketing, with a focus on the people, processes, data, and platforms that make B2B brands stand out and thrive in a competitive marketplace. I'm your host, Greg Kihlstrom, advising Fortune 1000 brands on MarTech, marketing operations, and CX, best-selling author and speaker. Before we get started, I wanted to let you know that my latest book, Priority is Action: 7 Principles for Better Strategies, Decisions, and Outcomes, is now available. In it, I give ideas and insights for leaders and teams that need to make meaningful progress on their priorities. After all, our priorities are what we do, not what we say we'd like to do. You can find Priority is Action on Amazon or learn more on my website, gregkihlstrom.com. Now let's get on to the show. Just a note before we get started. This episode ran earlier on my other podcast, The Agile Brand, but I thought it was a great fit for this B2B focused show as well. I hope you enjoy. In today's work environment, financial wellness benefits are increasingly recognized for their role in enhancing employee satisfaction, retention, and productivity. As we delve deeper into the modern workforce's expectations, particularly younger generations, it's clear that innovative solutions like on-demand pay are not just perks, but essential components of a competitive employee benefits package. To explore these developments and their implications for both employers and employees, I'd like to welcome Nico Simko, founder and CEO of Clair, to join us today. Nico, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, welcome back as well. So returning champion here. So for those that missed the episode you were on probably a little over a year ago, do you mind giving us a little background on why you founded Clair, as well as a little bit about what Clair does?
Absolutely. Founded Clair because during college I was an economics tutor, which was an hourly job. I got paid via physical check in the mail every 2 to 3 weeks, and then I realized at the same time that there was this cool thing called Venmo where you could pay your friends in a few clicks. And I was like, wow, you can pay your friends in a few clicks. Doesn't cost you anything, but it literally takes 2 weeks for your paycheck to run. And then you get a physical check in the mail, usually 5 or 6 days afterwards. This makes no sense. And so from there on, I kind of didn't do anything for 5 years. But when Uber came out with Uber Money, I was like, someone needs to invent this concept for the rest of the US economy. So for medium-sized businesses, large-sized businesses, mom and pop shops in all 50 states. And that's how Clair started.
Wonderful. Yeah, definitely. That's great. And let's start here by talking about financial wellness benefits in some of those high demand sectors. And so industries like retail and hospitality and other similar industries, high demand, especially, there's seasonality there as well. So, you have high demand, high pressure. Financial wellness benefits can play a big role here in not only ensuring employee satisfaction and retention, but also in recruiting as well, because there's a lot of competition during those key seasons. So let's talk a little bit more about that. And so, given the importance of these benefits, particularly to some workers, how should companies in high demand sectors like retail and hospitality think about incorporating these benefits, especially when gearing up for peak seasons?
Yep. So most of the industries you've mentioned have seen that it's very hard for them to attract and retain talent. The talent war, as you can put it, is real, and it's been real and accentuated during COVID, and it kind of remained like that. They need to be competitive. They need to show, without breaking the bank, ways for why an employee should come work for them instead of the person across the street. That's the number one reason why they should have on-demand pay. The other reason is you want, at the end of the day, to have as happy of employees, even if they stay, but you want to have as happy employees and as less stressed employees as you can so they can serve your customers in the best way possible. So even if you don't have a retention issue, even if you don't have a hiring issue, how can you help people, feel, for example, less stressed on a day-to-day basis? The number one cause of stress in the United States is financial stress. So ultimately, the thing you want to do is help them with that. And so that's where Claire comes in. And most employers that are on our, product sign up and encourage employees to use us for that particular reason.
Yeah, and to build on that, to the culture aspect, there's not only does that benefit the employees, but as you were saying, it benefits the brands as well with things like productivity and satisfaction. So how some of that might sound obvious to others, but what are some of the benefits when you're able to take the financial stress off of employees? What are companies able to get from those employees?
Well, absenteeism is pretty high when people are financially stressed. I'll give you one of my favorite examples that was real. I talked to an employee who worked at a quick service restaurant, and I asked them about their experience, with banking and with just financial services as a whole. And they had signed up for Claire, and they said, look, since I've signed up for Claire, I've stopped going to work for Uber at the end of the month. And I was like, what do you mean? It's like, well, I kind of told my manager, if he wouldn't let me go, I'd just be like, look, I'm sick, right? I want to go. And I was like, why is this? It's like, well, because ends meet are hard. It's hard to make ends meet. So I will call and say, go drive for Uber, and Uber pays me immediately. And so for them, that was one thing, is that they would just show up to work more.
Yeah.
And the other way that this really impacted them, beyond that, I think, specific example, is we've seen in our application that people come for wage advances, meaning they come and take a bunch of wage advances, but as they've been with us for about a month, 2 months, they take less and less wage advance, which is a great thing, right? Because for us, that means they're saving more and they can plan for their financial life. And so sometimes you find people in kind of this, we've all gone through this, right? Where you're just short on money for a specific period of time and you just got to get over the hump. And so all of that is to say is we are able to service kind of all of these micro needs, and combined together, they represent quite a big chunk of the population.
Yeah, and I mean that's so having that, even if it's a small reserve, sometimes it's like that's their mind is on work, and plus it's like that win-win, right? It's like the companies are getting what they need because their employees show up and they're focused on their work, and the employees are paying their bills on time and putting a little bit away for a rainy day and everything like that. So yeah, I mean it sounds um like a win-win there. And so I wanted to talk a little bit then about just the concept of on-demand pay and its effects. And we mentioned some of the benefits and kind of started out talking about the benefits, but with studies indicating a strong preference for on-demand pay among employees, how does this, again, we talked through the company and the employee relationship. What about those end customers? How are the end customers benefiting from this kind of win-win with the company and the employee?
So the reality is it's just quality of service that they're going to get. I mean, there's this famous phrase, right, which is treat your employees the best way possible, because in return they will treat your customers the best way possible. And I think that's kind of the mentality.
Yeah.
I run a business myself. We have dozens and dozens and dozens of employees in different divisions, and it can't be more real, is that if I am kind to my employees, if I'm supportive in times when it's tough, and also sometimes being kind is also giving harsh feedback, but showing I care, they're also going to care a lot about the outcome of the product they're building, because they want to keep their job and they want the company to succeed. And so that's the self-fulfilling prophecy.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. I can't believe we're already well into the summer months. Things move so fast. It's important to take a moment to pause and check in. Is there something you'd like to celebrate so far from the year? And what are some adjustments you might want to make for the rest of the year? Therapy can help you take stock of your progress and set achievable goals for the next 6 months. You might want to think about your family, your friendships, your personal goals. Where do you feel like you're making progress, and where do you feel like you might be able to use some help? If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online and it's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. This summer, take a moment to do this. Stop comparing and start focusing. Visit betterhelp.com/agility to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/agility. So why don't you talk a little bit about, how exactly does Claire work, and how are you facilitating this demand for on-demand pay, and maybe talk about how it works, and then if you could talk about some outcomes for companies as well, that'd be great.
Yep. So the way it works, currently employees at businesses will hear about us mostly within their payroll workforce management system, or they'll hear about it from manager or QR code on the wall. And what they'll hear is this: sign up for a new bank, and as soon as you clock out of work, a portion of your paycheck is available. That's the value prop. Is, do you want a new bank account? If you're open to it, we can give you this flex pay option. They sign up, they get at least a portion of their paycheck every month. We don't force them to, absolutely not. They can, ACH money out to another bank account whenever they want. But most of them will spend on the card. And these consumers are now able to honestly be better banked. And in case they're the gas station and their card that they swiped is not working, then they get the ability to flex their pay of money they've earned but not yet received.
Yeah. And so, what kind of outcomes do you hear from your customer? The brands that hire your company. What kind of stories are you hearing from them as far as how this is benefiting their employees as well as their businesses?
So the employers are benefiting primarily with the ability to sell a benefit that is still not kind of status quo. So they can be differentiated when they hire people, and they can convince people to come work at their place instead of the place across the street. And they benefit by having people want to go work there. People will think twice before quitting a job with those kinds of benefits. Of course, it's not the whole thing, but it does help. And then finally, they'll also have less absenteeism that comes out of, people not feeling like they just need to go work a gig job for half a day because they need cash right now.
Right. Yeah. And so last topic I want to talk about related to all of this, but, diving a little bit more into, as we see, there's certainly different generations have different preferences, different needs and things. And so, we've got Gen Z continuing to enter the workforce, and their expectations are certainly shaping how employers are looking at employee benefits and things like we've discussed. So considering this increasing presence of Gen Z in the workforce, are there different key factors, or, what key factors should employers be considering to meet those expectations, particularly in terms of things like financial wellness and benefits?
Yeah. I think the idea is to really stay attuned to what motivates somebody to be at their place of work,
Yeah.
and the culture that they're building and the environment that they're building for them. The reality is most employees who leave because it's not the right culture, or because their pay is just, completely unfavorable. But sometimes, if as a business you're not able to afford above market comp, you might have a chance of getting as good, if not as bad, better employees to come in and then be retained if you build an amazing culture. It of course requires more work. It requires to have a mission. It requires to have something bigger than what they currently have, but it's not impossible. And so thinking of that holistically, and there's many forms of technology they can use. They can use for workforce management. We don't do that, of course, but there's amazing workforce management solutions these days that are out there. One that I can shout out is Seven Shifts in the restaurant space. There's also this amazing company called When I Work. Those are brands that have done an amazing job at like just delighting their customers.
Yeah.
And so, thinking of that holistically in the employee experience, like you're going to retain your employees much more than the person across the street because, most businesses, unfortunately, don't care that much about their staff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so are you seeing that there's marked shifts between generations, in what they need? Or, a lot of what you're talking about seems like these are just general truths of, people want financial security, they need work, but, they want financial security, they want their employers to take care of them, and when they do, they can focus and all those things. But do you see any marked shifts from millennials to Gen Z to in terms of any priorities?
Yeah. The view is that, as crazy as it may sound, and it might be like not the answer you're necessarily looking for, is that Gen Z is, at the end of the day, yes, they're more connected. Yes, they use words that maybe other generations don't use. Yes, they spend a lot of time on social media, but they're looking for the same stuff as we all do, right? They're
Yeah,
looking for something aspirational, but they also want to make a living. And so I would say, like, I would advise not to create kind of almost a distinction there,
yeah,
but to kind of live with the times. And one of the things that we talk a lot about, even at Claire internally, is like the need to be working out of an office, working from home. And I think if you make decisions as an employer with common sense, right, I think you can get a lot more out of your employees, because a lot of people try to optimize for the rule, right,
yeah,
or they try to optimize for things that are to some extent, academically or hypothetically correct, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's the right thing for common sense of what's going on right now in your business. Oftentimes those things are the same, but sometimes they're not. And when there's that level of discrepancy, that's, I think, what hurts a lot, the culture. And that's what helped, that hurts with Jay Zers.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'd say like a lot of it applies. And I think that also means you got to treat the Gen Z, I want to find the right word, but it's like population, or like,
Yeah.
members of that age group, the same way you treat everybody else. And if that means that, if you have an in-office policy because for a particular job, you need these people, on a whiteboard, or you need to make sales calls, like, I don't think we should adapt that if it's known that it's best for the business.
Right.
Because I think that in the long run, it will go back to, there's going to be a reversal to the mean around, what makes sense from business, and also like employee experience and employee growth perspective, that, will kind of be the same across different generations.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it sounds like, and I've run into this in marketing work, and I think Google was early on in this idea of, it's kind of life moments and places that we're at that are a lot more, I guess, unifying, or however you want to look at it, than it is an arbitrary age. So in other words, if somebody in Gen Z is starting a family, and someone, a Gen Xer like myself, is starting a family, there's a lot of things that tie us. We have a lot of similar needs, maybe some different because different stage in life, but there's a lot of similarities there. And from a financial and a wellness perspective, there might be a lot of similarities there as well. So I mean, it sounds like that's kind of what you're saying as well. Is that true?
That's true. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, Nico, thanks for joining us today. Got one last question for you before we wrap up here, and want to look ahead a few years here, and we talked about kind of I would call it the win-win-win, is when
Hmm.
companies are treating their employees well, not only did both of those groups benefit, but their end customers benefit as well. But if you could look out a few years, what are you seeing? What do you have your eye on as far as financial wellness and employee benefits that companies should be preparing for?
Yeah, I think from a benefit standpoint, I'm a big believer that for most Americans, and especially for the hourly workforce, banking with a bank that is completely separate from all of the data that your employer has is going to be seen as a liability, not as an asset. Right now, we're thinking of a bank as an asset, right? Like you have this thing, gets your paycheck. But I think it's going to become a liability. Why? Because you're going to have a lost opportunity of having better access to credit, better access to credit building, better access to pre-tax benefits such as commuting and 401k. And I think it's about time financial services gets tied back to the world of employment.
That's great. That's great. Well, again, I'd like to thank Nico Simko, founder and CEO of Clair, for joining the show. For more information about Nico and Clair's approach to financial wellness and on-demand pay, follow the links in the show notes. Thanks again for listening to the B2B Agility Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to subscribe and leave us a rating so that others can find the show more easily. You can access more episodes of the show at www.b2bagility.com. That's b2bagility.com. While you're there, check out my series of best-selling Agile brand guides covering a wide variety of marketing technology topics, or you can search for Greg Kihlstrom on Amazon. Until next time, stay focused and stay agile.
The Agile brand.
Meet the brand new oven from Uni, the Coda 2 Max. This massive gas-powered pizza oven sports 2 independently controlled cooking zones and a Bluetooth-enabled digital temperature hub. Learn more at uni.com. That's OONI.com.
Amplify your career through training and development solutions specifically designed for federal government professionals. From courses to help you attain or retain certification, to individualized coaching services, to programs that hone your leadership skills and business acumen, Management Concepts optimizes your professional development. Online, in person, individually, or groups, it's training that's measurably better. Learn more at managementconcepts.com. That's managementconcepts.com.